Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to a brand new video here today, and welcome to 6 dream ideas / things that I would love to see in F1 2019 career mode or future Formula 1 game career modes here. They're dream ideas because they're pretty bold ones that will pretty much never see the light of day, but it's really fun to think about if they could be an F1 game. You know, we did the video just a few days ago about things that I think need to be in F1 2019. If you did miss that, by the way, be sure to go check that video out. But that, off the back of that, after I finished doing that video, it kind of got me thinking in a way. You know, I talked about, driver transfers could never be a thing, but it made me think, what are those kind of ideas like driver transfers, those kind of ideas where it would be revolutionary for the F1 game. It would change it completely, especially for those obviously that don't have the game on PC and can't do modding. For the console guys, PS4 and Xbox One, what would be the ideas that would really change it, but would probably never ever see. Some of these ideas I don't think we'll ever see because it's just not possible with the resources Codemasters have, the red tape of Liberty Media, just the way they want to make an F1 game, the way they want to make an F1 game. Some of these ideas just wouldn't ever be possible, but it's kind of fun to think about it and kind of just dream a little bit, just play a bit of devil's advocate and think about how crazy an F1 game could be if there were no limits, basically. So kicking it off with number one, obviously I just mentioned it, driver transfers would be a number one sort of thing that is a dream thing that needs to come to the F1 game eventually. I do have a lot of hope that eventually, down the line, I can't say how many years, let's go maybe 2, 3, that at some point Liberty Media and F1 open up their eyes and they're kind of like, okay, hang on, you know what, every other sports game in the world does this, where they allow players, be it, footballers or, basketball players, whatever, all these sports games to move teams, you can do transfers, and I think at some point that they'll let Codemasters, do that, implement that in the game, because, it just makes sense. It makes sense, but for right now, it's just not possible. There's been a lot of people still don't know why that's possible. I said it in the last video, and some people were questioning why that was. It's because of all the licensing issues with, Hamilton has to be with Mercedes, has to be with these certain sponsors. I'm hoping in the future it can be sort of thing, but that's definitely a number one dream thing that I think needs to come to the F1. I think a lot of you guys want to see come to the F1 game, obviously, because it's only something that happens with PC modding right now, and it can't ever happen on the consoles. Number two is going to be the full formula progression of F3, F2, and F1 in the game. How sick would it be if you had like a screen that came up, you could choose where you wanted to start your career mode, just like in FIFA, you can choose if you want to choose a top tier team or a bottom one and try and take them to the top, maybe in a Road to Glory style kind of thing. How sick would it be if you get a menu, you choose your team obviously again, but before you get to the teams, you get to decide, right, do I want to start this career mode in F3, really have the full driver experience, working my way through the world of Formula 1 and motor racing and single-seater motor racing here, or do I want to start in F2 maybe for a bit of an easier time, a little bit more kind of middle way, or F1, I'm a casual F1 fan, I just want to play F1. That is it. How cool would that be if you could make your way through? They have all the full licensing for F3, F2, you have the paddocks and everything like that, all the drivers face scanned, all the commentary for it as well, like, for the cutscenes and whatnot, and you actually get acknowledgement in cutscenes from moving from F3 to F2 and then vice versa, F2 to F1. It would just be insane. Like, obviously, I know other racing games have progression like that, but I'm talking about an actual, licensed one that is in the official Formula 1 game. I don't know if they would call it a Formula 1 game anymore. It would pretty much be the FIA kind of single-seater game, but in an F1 game, in like that, done in a career mode style, the way Codemasters does a career mode, because, yeah, you can have racing games that do that kind of progression, but, Codemasters do their career mode a lot better than a lot of other racing games, in my opinion, so it'd be sick to see the progression in a Codemasters F1 game, but obviously that is a real big step to actually have everything licensed and everything drivable as well, in terms of you can drive the lower tier cars. Number 3 is going to be livery changes, sponsor changes, and also aerodynamic changes. It would be really cool if I actually upgraded the car and I saw the front wing change a little bit. I saw the rear wing change. Obviously, this one is impossible pretty much because they can't just make up. It's possible if they made up aero changes, but you want to kind of stay semi-realistic. So there's no way you can kind of foresee what teams are going to upgrade to and what an upgrade will look like on the front wing or the rear wing exactly. So, it's really something that would be impossible, but it'd be really sick. And also livery changes. How cool it would be, you see teams actually change the livery a little bit. Nothing major, maybe. Color styles, maybe, if it's like a McLaren going from the silver to the papaya orange, maybe. Or you just have a few sponsors swapped out. Again, that's a lot of red tape right now with sponsors. Sponsors get really picky about, they want their sponsor to be there specifically like it is in the real life car. No budge or room on that. So that's really something that would be impossible. But how cool will that be? Like let's say Ferrari, lose sponsorship from Shell and they have to get someone else in, and then Mercedes get Shell as a sponsor, for example. So you can actually have a real big change of the car as well, because it's all well and good. Even if the drive is swapped around, it would still kind of get almost, visually speaking, get kind of samey if all the cars are the exact same. So it would be really cool to have livery changes. Of course, like real life, you go from season to season, liveries do change. So in the game, when you're 10 seasons in, it'd be absolutely insane if liveries actually changed, with the sponsors they've got. Number 4. Now, this was a very interesting idea. One that a few of you guys were actually been saying for quite a while on some of these kind of idea videos, and something that kind of, try to paint a picture of, but open world paddock. That would be quite something in a Formula 1 game. I don't know how much use it would be, but it's definitely one of those dream things where it'd be very cool to have that. Just for the actual, you have the full live the life mantra in the game of your first person. It probably wouldn't be third person. First person perspective, you can walk out from your motorhome, you can go to the garage, you can go across to interviews in the interview pen, and just basically just go around the paddock. You can see familiar faces. They'd have to completely render in every single little familiar face basically that's left and right of you as you walk down the paddock. But having that open world aspect, and you could walk through into the garage just like the drivers do, and literally walk through, and you can actually literally go right to your car, and then you click a button to actually get in the car, and then that's when you start the session. If the timer goes in the top left, FP1's going to start in literally 1 minute, and so you start walking in. As soon as the session starts, you kind of walk to the garage, get in the car, strap yourself in, and you're good to go. And then it kind of just transitions into your racing around. I think that would be, but it'd be pretty, I don't know, it'd be a very novelty thing, I think, after a while, let's not lie, but it would still be pretty damn sick, I think. Number 5, something that is never, ever going to happen with the official F1 game, at least not in the way I'm going to say it right now, manager mode in the F1 game. I've done a fair share of Motorsport Manager, and it's a really fun game. It's fun to manage other drivers and put your team principalness to the test. Yeah, that's not English, but anyway, you get what I mean. Put that to the test, basically. Test your racing knowledge rather than your actual racecraft, because sometimes, a lot of the time, even when you're racing right now in career mode, a lot of the times, actually, there's going to be some races where it doesn't matter how slow or fast you are, your strategy just works out amazingly, and you can, get along and win the race or get a great podium. So it'd be cool to actually put that to the test, just like FIFA does. They have the player kind of career, and then they have the normal career, which is the manager mode. So it's basically the flip of it. Usually we play as the player. I'm saying we have an alternate mode, so you have career mode that's split into 2 halves of, classic career mode of player or the manager mode. In the manager mode, you still have all the full licensing. That's one difference. Motorsport Manager does not have any licensing for F1. It'd be really cool to have an F1 manager game that's actually fully licensed. You can kind of zoom properly in to the cars. Basically, it'd be almost like manager mode, but you can watch it via replay cameras. Instead of having a bird's eye view that's zoomed out on the track, you can actually just watch it via the replay cameras and have that sense of you're watching like an F1 race, but you're also at the same time pushing buttons to actually manage it. Say when your driver needs to push, or save fuel, save tires, when he's going to come in for the pit lane, check for the weather, all that jazz that comes from Motorsport Manager. Just have that plugged into the actual F1 game. That would be very cool, at least for me. I mean, I know some people don't gel with the manager mode game, like the Motorsport Manager game. Some people find it boring, but for me, personally, it'd be really sick. But that is never going to happen. No, it might, an F1 licensed manager game separately, that you never know. That could happen, but I don't think it would happen in the way I just described it, of having it in the actual normal big F1 official game. And number 6, going for ultimate customization. Now, I think this is something that could happen, not maybe in 2 years, something way down the line, I think, because they've got more things to prioritize, but a pro club style player creator where you can create your character, third person, everything, complexion, the hair, jawline, whatever, cheek, really customize it. You can make it look like yourself, or just go go for it and basically just go for what you want your driver to look like. And then that is obviously in every single cutscene. It's just way more customizable. And along with that, you know, pro clubs in FIFA, you're going to choose your boots, your socks. So I would say, you know, you can choose your, you know, your sponsors, I guess, of your shoes, you know, because I know a lot of the time the drivers are stuck into what the team wants, but you can choose your personal sponsors maybe, and then you can design your own number. You know, again, going from the idea we actually had in the last video of having a geometric shape kind of editor, but having that full broad kind of for everything, you know, for the number, for your helmet, and then having it on top of obviously creating your own face and everything like that. So I think that'd be pretty awesome. I don't think that's a priority though, obviously, so I don't see it really happening anytime soon, but it'd be pretty cool. Customization, having a custom experience for you and having a experience that only you've made is important. As much as it doesn't seem like it, it is a kind of lower list thing, but I don't think anyone can deny that in any game, not even just racing games, any game, it's cool to have that customization and making the game your kind of own thing with your own player, the way he or she looks or whatever. I think it'd be really cool. So those are, at least to me, 6 mouth-watering dream ideas and things I would want to see in F1 2019 or future F1 games rather, really. A lot of that is never going to happen to see the light of day. Some of it, yeah, like I said with the driver transfers, I would like to think maybe in the future it could, but yeah, a few of those are just never gonna happen at all. Let me know in the comments below, guys. Be interested to see, because I'm sure my tastes in what I'd want in an F1 game are different to a lot of you guys. So let me know in the comments below what your dream kind of features would be in an F1 game. I'm talking literally, like I said, no red tape, no, you know, there's no restrictions, you know, resources, whatever. They'll do it. What are your dream ideas for an F1 game in the future? You know, let's say F1 2030. What do you want to see? Dream scenario ideas in the F1 game. Let me know in the comments below, and we'll see what the best ones are. Maybe maybe there's some really bonkers ones out there. I might need to make a video of commenting together your guys' craziest ideas, because that'd be quite cool, because I'm sure there's going to be some other bonkers ideas I've not even thought of. But guys, if you did enjoy the video, be sure to hit that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below, like I said. If you're new and do subscribe for weekly F1 content, I've been aarava. I've been interested today. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.